Hello and welcome back to FBG. Today we're going to be having another look at Scrap Mechanic, and today I'm going to attempt, I say attempt because I'm not that great at it, to build a flying vehicle. Now, it's not too difficult to build a flying vehicle in Scrap Mechanic. What is difficult is getting the weighting just right, getting the turning just right, but we'll give it a go. I don't have any particular plans in mind, so I'm just going to kind of wing it and see what I'll come up with. And yeah, so let's give it a test. And for this particular video, we're going to be looking at thrusters. Thrusters are the main thing that you tend to use for flying vehicles, but we'll have a look at a few other bits and pieces as well. Okay, so I'm just going to load up the level that I created last time, which I think was probably this one. And then I'm just going to cut ahead in the video to when the game's loaded. Okay, welcome back. So this is the world that we created last time. Still got the car down the road there that down the path there that we created in the last video, and one of my inventions. So we're going to have a go at making a flying vehicle. Again, I apologise for the quality of this video, and if it's a little bit laggy on the video, it's just the spec of my computer. It's the Scrap Mechanic is a great game. It does use up quite a lot of resources, so it needs something a bit higher spec than I've got ideally. So anyway, there's a nice flat area down here in this little I don't know what you call it really, area surrounded by rocks, which is nice. So okay, so if you watched the last video, you'll have an idea of some of the basics already, hopefully. And if you haven't watched the last video, please do. We had a look at building the blue car that is just over there. Not the best car ever, but it works. And this time we're going to have a go at building something that flies, hopefully. So to start off with, I am going to place my lift. So I'm going to pop that down there. Okay, now flying vehicles can be kind of any size, shape you want. There's no right or wrong way to do things in Scrap Mechanic, really. There's different ways you can make them steer. There's different ways you can set thrusters up to do different things. So it's just a case of giving it a go and having a play around. I learn best by tinkering and just having a go at things myself. I have watched a couple of videos of Scrap Mechanic, but mainly I've just sort of figured out as I've gone. So I'm going to make it a reasonable size because I want to get a few thrusters and things on this. Let's have a look. How big do we want it to be? Let's start off with that sort of size. Okay. Now, the difficult thing with flying vehicles is the stability of them. So generally speaking, from a sort of a physics point of view, if you have something where you've got a bit of weight on the bottom in the middle, that tends to help stabilize it a little bit. So what I did with my last flying vehicle that I made, I used some metal blocks and I put a small square metal blocks in the middle of the bottom of the vehicle, and that helped it just keep its balance slightly. So I'm just going to do that on this one as well. So the metal block is, my mouse will be working, is this one here, and that's a nice heavy block to go on the bottom, so I should just drag that down to my inventory. And about that, there we go, and I shall put some metal blocks down here somewhere, probably about there, yeah, about 3 blocks in from the side. We've got 3 on either side, so that's fairly symmetrical. The other thing you need to do really is when you're creating these things is make them as symmetrical as possible, because that will really help with in terms of stopping it from overbalancing in one particular direction. And I don't know why I'm doing it that way around. This would be much quicker and easier. There we go, that will do for the moment. I might possibly add to that in a bit, but we'll see how we get on. Okay, so first of all, we need some thrusters, and the thrusters are going to go, on my particular vehicle, are going to go on the 4 corners of the bottom to make it actually go up in the air. Okay, so thrusters in Scrap Mechanic look like this, unless you have any mods downloaded, in which case they might be slightly different. So I'm going to pop a thruster down instead of the wheel. Don't really need wheels in this one. And that's number 5 on the keyboard, so I'm going to add a thruster to the corner. Now, after you've added the thruster, if you press E on it, you can actually change how much power is coming from the thruster as well. So I'm not going to put it up too high at the moment. I'm going to see how we get on. So I'm just going to put it up 1 for now, just to see how that does. We can always fiddle about and adjust for these things afterwards. It's not an issue. Okay, that's 1 thruster down. So let's take another one there. And again, we'll put that up slightly power-wise. You can either click on it or you can press E on the keyboard to turn that on and off. So if Okay, just put one there. Press E, press up arrow, press E again to get rid of it. Just saves having to click on things with the mouse all the time. And of course my lift's in the way of this corner, so I'm just going to get rid of the lift for a second. And it's made a nice heavy clunking noise, didn't it? So I'll just pop that down over here. And I'll just go over this side. And put our lift up slightly. And get my thrusters back. And that should be that. So hopefully for the bottom thrusters, I think I've made them all the same power, haven't I? Just double check. Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do next is put some sort of seat on the device, and it doesn't really matter too much what seat you use when you're using thrusters, because you're going to power the thrusters with buttons or switches anyway, so you don't need something that steers like we did in the car video. So I do have the steering seat on at the moment, but let's just have a quick look and see what options we've got. So you've got things like a toilet seat you can sit on if you want to, so you can be a toilet flying device. You've got a saddle with a steering wheel, you've got just a plain seat by itself, and then the seat with the steering wheel. So I might go for this one, I think. Not quite as fun as a toilet, I know, but it will do for the time being. Okay. So if I press number 6, that brings that one up. And I'm going to, sorry, not number 6, number 7. I'm going to pop a seat up on here somewhere. Where should we pop it? I think I want to have that pretty much in the middle, which is a bit tricky to do from down here. So what I'm going to do is, one thing you can use lifts for, as well as putting your inventions on them, is putting yourself on it. So if I pop a lift down and jump on it, I can now use that as a little step, and if I press the up arrow, I can lift myself up a little bit, which is really handy when you want to get to the top of your inventions if they're quite big. Okay, so let's go back to our seats. There we go. So I'm going to put that pretty much slap bang in the middle, I think. Is that in the middle? Yeah, that's about right. Okay, so far, hopefully, weight distribution will be pretty good. Now, to power the thrusters on the bottom, we're going to need either a button or a switch. Now, the main difference between the buttons and the switches is the button here, this one, you have to hold down the key on the keyboard, and it will move as long as you hold it down. The switch will stay on until you switch it back off again. So it really depends. It's not difficult to switch on and off. I tend to like the buttons because then I can just quickly let go of it if I'm going too high or going too far one direction. So I'm probably going to use a button for my invention on this one. Okay, so let's pop that down there. And we'll press number 3, and we'll put the button there. Okay, so dead simple so far. Now I'll go to my connect tool, and you can see the thrusters underneath, these sort of light sort of bluish coloured circles here, and all I need to do now is connect those to the switch. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now to be able to control the switch from the driver's seat, all I need to do is connect that switch to the seat. So dead easy. So let's test that so far. So it's pretty basic. It's only got thrusters on the bottom, so it's not going to do an awful lot. So now it's assigned my switch to the first block on my inventory at the bottom. So if I hold down number 1, we have liftoff. Now you can see it already tilting slightly to the side, even though it seems pretty much evenly weighted. There's a number of reasons for that in Scrap Mechanic. Chances are it's probably just because the ground's not overly even in the first place. It is quite tricky to get things absolutely spot on in terms of weight. There are a few sort of stability glitches and things in Scrap Mechanic apparently, which I learned about recently. So you can put certain blocks together, which then gives you something that will create something that's really stable. I tried one from a video and it didn't seem to work. You can download a few from the Steam Workshop. I mean, yeah, fair enough if you want to use those, but I quite like the challenge of just being able to do it without that, to be honest. Okay, anyway, less waffling and more building. So let's just climb back on our lift again. Okay, so far it goes up, which is great. And now what I'm going to do is put some thrusters on to make it steer. So we want it to be able to rotate to the left and rotate to the right. So there's a few different ways you could do this. For this particular way that I'm going to do it, I'm going to make it nice and simple, and what I'm going to do is sorry, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some more of my tile blocks down. So if we just get that a second, put that there. Okay, so I'm just going to build up a couple of tile blocks on the corner here. So I'm going to do it that way. Sometimes my mouse gets a bit sticky, but that's fine. There we go. And on there. And I shall put a thruster going in that way. This will hopefully make sense in a moment. Well, I'm hoping it will actually work in a moment. Come on, put your thruster down. There we go. Okay, and I might just put that up one as well. Excuse me, sorry. So now if I just come and do the same on the corner over here, hopefully because this is all quite well balanced, it will work quite well when it's flying. Excuse me, and put that there, press E, put the power up, press E again. Okay, now we need some more switches for our steering. So I'll put buttons on again, and I'm going to put one over here, and I'm going to put one over here. Now the idea is with this one, hopefully, so press on the button, is to connect this to this thruster and connect this to this thruster over here. So if I hit that switch, that thruster is going to burn, and the other thruster at the back there is going to burn, and hopefully it will make it turn. That's what I'm planning on anyway. Whether it actually will or not is another matter. So pop that one there and pop that one over to here. It looks a bit messy, but you get the idea. Okay, let's give this a quick try, shall we? Now this will either be brilliant or it won't work at all, so let's have a look. So if I press number 1 to go up, now hopefully if I press number 2... one thing I absolutely forgot to do was then put the switches on the driver's seat. So that will usually help if you actually want to steer and use the thing. So sorry about that, let's just try that again. So the switch here needs to be connected to here. And the switch here needs to be connected to here. Let's try that again. Okay, right, so number 1 will go up. Number 2, I'm hoping will turn us that way, perfect. It's a bit jiggy. And hopefully number 3 will turn us the other way, fantastic. That's exactly what I wanted it to do. Phew! So it's not bad actually. I'm relatively happy with that. It's going up and down and it's turning okay. So now all we need to do is have something that goes forwards and backwards. That's all working so far, which is good. Right, so now I'm just going to decide where I'm going to put my back thrusters, and I will put some thrusters on the front as well, just to balance the weight out hopefully, and also so that I can oh, wrong way. So that I can go in reverse and forwards as well. So okay, I'll put one there, and again I'm putting up one knot, seems to be working quite well at the moment. And right, I'm just gonna have to move this invention, I think, because it's a bit too close to the rocks over there. And we'll put another one on here. Now, because I'm doing it exactly the same on all sides, I'm hoping it should be pretty balanced. Sometimes as well, when I make these flying vehicles, I do put thrusters on the top as well, so I can make it go back down again. And also, if you crash land and you need to turn the vehicle over, that could be quite useful. I probably won't do that on this one at the moment, but we'll see how we get on. Looks like. Okay, so one there, and another thruster there, E, and up, and E, okay. And then one more on this side. Okay, and thruster there. And up and E. And now we need again is some more switches to actually connect the thrusters to. So grab a lift and put that there. I can jump on it. There we go. Come on. There we go. Right. Okay, just move that up a smidge. Brilliant. Right, okay, so now I need to get my switches back again, and I will place a switch here, I think. And that one can be for the back thrusters. Doesn't really matter too much which order you put them in, as long as you remember afterwards. Okay, so before I do the one, I'll just connect those up. So, the thruster there. Oops, try it again. So, thruster there. And thruster over here. And then I need to remember to connect the steering wheel this time. Okay, to the steering wheel, perfect. And then we need one on the other side, so let's get that switch back again. And I'm going to bob that. I'm a bit too close to the seat there, just come over there a little bit, there we go. I'm going to pop that one there, and again I'm going to connect that one to the front thruster, sorry. It's there. And we've got quite a web of connections. Oops, sorry, quite a web of connections going on there. So there, and then make sure we connect that to the driver's seat as well. So, okay, so we should hopefully be good to go. So let's give this a quick try. Okay, so it's a fairly neat looking flying vehicle, certainly better than I've done in the past. But we've got 5 different switches. So number 1 switch was to go up. Number 2 switch was to rotate one direction. I can't remember which way it was now. To rotate that way, so clockwise. Number 3 is to rotate anti-clockwise. Okay. Let's just go back up again. And number 4 is hopefully for the back thrusters. Now this will be an issue. So when I do the back thrusters, it's actually tipping it forward quite a lot, which I would imagine it probably would do really. So we might have to have a play around with that, see if we can improve on that slightly, because it's kind of, yeah, because that's going to happen. It's not perfect. I need to have a think about what to do with the back thrusters and the front thrusters. Okay, not to worry. Let's just have a quick go at this. Okay, I've got my invention back on its stand. Now, to compensate for the fact that it's leaning a bit too far forward instead of just moving forward, I'm going to try adding a couple more thrusters and seeing what this does. This may or may not work. So if I put a thruster here, I'm going to keep it on a slightly lower power, and if I do the same on the other side, and again I'm going to keep that on a slightly lower power. Come on, there we go. And hopefully there's space. I can do the same on these two as well, so we've got an even weight distribution. There we go. And on the other side. Now what I'm going to try and do is, when it goes forward, I'm going to have the rear facing thrusters firing off as well, so that, but with slightly less power, so hopefully it will move forward a little bit, but it won't completely tip over. That's the idea anyway. So I've not tried this before, I'm kind of making up as I go along, so fingers crossed this will actually have some effects. So just jump back on here a second. Okay, and we're just up here. Okay, so if I go back to my connect tool, it's getting a bit messy, and I've just got to remember what's working with what now. Okay, so number 4 is going to my back thruster at the moment, so I also want number 4 to go to the 2 thrusters that I've just added that are pointing this way. So hopefully, oh, and actually, no I don't, no, I'm on line side. I want them to go to the ones that are pointing this way. This is quite tricky to do when you've got so many bits on the screen, but it's not too bad. So that one goes there, with number 4 as well, and then the front thrusters, which are going to number 3. I think it's number 3. Kind of hard to tell, to be honest. I should really colour code my switches or something there, shouldn't I? Yeah, the front thrusters are going. No, actually, the front thrusters are going to number. Oh my god, which one's the front thruster going to? Number 5, I think. So if I connect number 5 up to one's not connected yet. One. Now, this will either work or it will not work at all, which I suspect may be the case, but let's just give it a go. So that one goes to 5 as well. Come on, there we go. Right, okay, let's give this another quick test, shall we? So, hopefully, now if I go up in the air and I press number 4, it will move forward slightly more gently, although it is tipping to the side slightly, but actually it's not too bad, it's not too bad. I'm holding down number 1 and 4 at the moment, and it seems to be going a bit. But that is just basically it for making a flying vehicle. You'd have to have a fiddle about with some of the options yourself just to try and get it perfect. The only other thing I will quickly show you just before I finish this video is if you want to make your vehicle look a bit nicer. Obviously there's quite a few different tools and things you can use on here. There's horns, there's radios, there's all sorts of stuff if you scroll down. Lots of really fun things. Obviously if you do put lots of extra objects on the flying vehicle, you need to try and distribute the weight as evenly as possible for it to work okay. And the other thing you can do is use this tool here, and this is the paint tool. So if I just pop that in my number 1 slot, okay, and press number 1, and I've got this funky painting tool, and if I press Q on the keyboard I can choose a colour. So let's just go for, yellow, and now I can click and drag that, and you can paint most of the items really. So I can paint the blocks if I want to, I can paint the thrusters if I want to, and you can just make your vehicle look a bit fancier. And I'm not going to bother painting it all now. I am going to give it another quick test just to see if I can get it to fly any straighter. Excuse the noise in the background if you heard that. That's one of my dogs making a slightly off noise. So rotate works well. That's pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. Although saying that, it's now gone a bit haywire. Number 4 should make it go forwards, and it's kind of over tilting that way. This is the real problem with vehicles in Scrap Mechanic, flying vehicles in Scrap Mechanic I should say. It can be really tricky to get them to go exactly where you want them to go, but it can be a lot of fun as well. So just have a play around with it. It doesn't matter if it doesn't work perfectly, it's just a bit of fun, and it's quite a good laugh to challenge your friends and try and build something that may or may not work depending on how you built it in the first place. So like I said, I'm just going to tap it number 4 just to hopefully go forward a bit. Oh, it's climbing well. It makes a good rocket, and it rotates pretty well, so I'm relatively happy with that. It's probably one of the better flying vehicles I've made so far. Can I get onto that big mountain in the distance? I'm guessing probably not, it's going forward. Skew it. Come on. Oh no, there we go. Practice side, that's good, that's good. It's leaning slightly to the side. Number 2. Too many buttons. Actually doing quite well. Slowly getting to the top of the hill. I'm stunned. Now, can I land it on the hill? That's the big question. Will I land on the cliff? Come on. Come on, you can do it. Just rotate a bit. Around that way a little bit. I'm aiming for that little space just next to the tree by the big tank in there. Or I'm going to hit the tree if I'm not careful. Oh no, too far, too far, too far. Rotate back, that's it. No, too far that way. It does rotate it a bit more than I would like it to. Oh, go on, you can do it, go on. This is looking good, it's looking good. Go on. No, it's not looking good. Oh, so close. No. I'll tell you what. I'm going to take that. I'm going to be happy with that because that was actually pretty good. Okay, so that's it for this episode of Scrap Mechanic. Any questions, please feel free to leave some comments below. Also, if you like this video, please add a like. Thank you very much. Bye.